Hey, Shane,
Yes, Spence?
have we seen Avatar: The Way of Water?
No. But have you seen Fern Gully, The Last Rainforest?
No.
Well... I mean,
We have now.
we have.
And now I also
you
have.
have also
seen also in addition to.
Okay, so
yeah.
these movies are both incredibly different and kind of similar.
Well, it's funny. Everyone makes the comparison with the first Avatar specifically. I mean, this
Yeah.
one's just come out, right? So
Yeah.
it's like everyone's gonna make these comparisons, just not yet. But everyone makes the comparison to Pocahontas and Dances with Wolves. Both accurate.
Yeah.
But
I see. I think it also gets a lot of Fern Gully.
No, it does, but just culturally speaking, not as many people
Those
have
are-
seen.
this is very true.
So, but watching Fern Gully, you're just like, yeah, there's like a lot of weirdly similar imagery and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. I mean, Fern Gully doesn't have mech suits and giant planes shooting rockets, but
That's in Fern Gully too.
that's
That's the direct to video, direct to VHS version of.
like I would watch that movie.
It exists. Like it's actually real.
That they shoot rockets and
No.
stuff. That's what I meant. They blow the ferry up.
Well, yeah, literally they just blow. Yeah. So, question: how do you want to? We're talking about two very weird, different movies that are similar. There's some. Do we want to talk about one and the other, and then how they're related, or do we just want to kind of jump on into it?
I would
Philip DeFranco style.
I would like to me loosely because I think the stuff about Fern Gully is less specific and more the type of story that it is.
Let's do this. Let's talk about Fern Gully for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, cool.
And then just jump into Avatar 2 and bring in whatever Fern Gully stuff we want.
Yeah.
So Fern
okay.
Gully, what did you know going in before watching this movie? Did you know anything?
I knew. I knew it was about the environment. Obviously I knew that, but right before you're like, it's famous for having a Robin Williams rapping as a bat, and that sure is in there.
Yeah, it is.
No, I didn't know much, and it's a good movie.
Yeah.
I like it. It's a cool little sweet movie. Definitely like not top tier animation of the era by any means,
no.
but I do love and miss that kind of style.
Yeah.
Like I wish we would get like one of those every couple of years or more, you know, but
I just miss 2D animation. I
A
just
lot,
miss like actual animation. Because it's like now when you get cheap animation, it's just crappy 3D.
2D animation has kind of become your Bob's Burgers, your
Right.
Rick and Morty,
Right.
BoJack Horseman, where it's like intentionally not that artistically driven. It's more like
Yeah.
this is simple and it's drawn in a simple way, but that
Yeah.
makes it funny. And it's
Yeah.
like I'm all about that. I love adult oriented animated shows.
Yeah.
But I do miss when they like make them beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, I miss that style. And that to me was one of the fun parts about going back and watching that. Is seeing kind of just that old
Just the matte
throwbacky
paintings
style.
and stuff in the background are like gorgeous.
Yes.
And I do miss that.
Definitely, it's way too relatable to our current.
That is one thing that I really actually like appreciate about this movie is it does not pull punches. Like
No.
when it's talking about like through its message, like very pro environmental, very anti, like
And it is not subtle.
no, it is not subtlety. Subtlety has left the room, and like hardcore boot stomping,
Yes.
like message of like very, like I said, like very anti, capitalist and pro environmental. Like movie shreds for a kids movie. Like, look, I think there are a lot of cool movies driven towards like families and kids that talk about real issues, but they're usually very like interpersonal issues. It's like how you deal with your mother, how you deal with your father, how you deal with yourself, like how to be yourself, how to like, and it's never they never talk about political issues in any way, shape, or form.
Especially not now. But the other thing is, I leaned over to the movie. I was like, remember when kids' movies were super fucked up?
Yeah.
And scary? Like,
Dude, freaking the sludge monster.
The most Tim Curry to ever Tim Curry.
sludge monster is like that has been in my head for decades.
Yeah,
that
terrifying.
scene, like
when
it's
he's like
terrifying.
becoming bones and coming at you,
Yes.
like, ooh.
Oh, it is so badass and scary and like amazing.
Whatever they do with his
Curry.
voice is really interesting too. Where they
Yes.
kind of make it like a little, like
Yeah.
they do that with it, which is cool. Yeah, Fern Gully's like a good movie.
Yeah,
you know,
Tim Curry just eats that up and spits it out.
Yeah.
I love to. I think I saw. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can find that Letterboxd review because it was really funny and inappropriate, and so I want to read it out loud.
It's interesting. There's like, it's legitimately funny too. You know what I mean? Fern Gully.
Yeah,
the
it has
comedy
some good
in
stuff.
it.
I mean, it's got Robin
aged,
Williams.
Yeah, it's just aged pretty well. Where there's like weird, funny timings on things, but like they're fun and I like them. I think that's really interesting. Oh, you found the review?
Director Tim, baby, listen, I need you to tone it down a bit. Seems like you're coming when you speak. Tim Curry, that I am. Can we talk about how unnecessarily sexually charged Tim Curry's performance in this film was? I absolutely agree and love it.
Yes,
I see this
accurate.
as an absolute win.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think, like, I mean, like, that's the funny thing is, like, I don't even remember the lead characters' names. Zach, I think,
Similar to Avatar. You don't remember the lead character's name.
Damn. I mean,
The first comparison I will make.
yeah.
No, I remember the character. I remember Jake Sully and I remember Natiri.
Yeah.
I don't remember anybody else, but
So, like, in your mind, like, what were the comparisons that you were able to draw from this movie to the first one specifically? We'll get into the second
I
one.
mean, obviously imagery stuff like the deforestation trees, or machines, like
yes,
the way
dude,
they're
even the design
yeah, well,
is
that's what I'm saying
similar.
is like they're big and menacing and look like monsters
Yeah.
versus more than machines, you know?
Yeah, that's
them
cool.
attacking them in similar ways. Like a lot of stuff like that, a lot of those
The
like
scene with Zach where he goes to the entire tribe or whatever.
Yes.
And it's like I literally I turned to him, I was like, this is literally the scene of him
Yeah.
of Jake at home tree telling them that they have to leave.
Well,
it's literally the same thing.
not only that, there's also like the elements of him hurting nature and not understanding. That's him fighting the dogs and him with the torch in the first
Right,
one. You know what I mean?
100%.
It's like, now that being said, we all complain about those comparisons or have. I find them incredibly effective. This idea of oneness with nature and
Yeah.
learning that, but having to be quiet and still to learn it versus having the torch and killing the monster.
Right.
They're effective.
Trust me, don't get me wrong. This is not me like slamming either movie.
Yeah.
I just think it's funny. Like I just think it's interesting the like one-to-one things you can draw from this movie.
Yes.
In Avatar.
No,
1.
completely. They really are. I mean, it has, like you said, that scene of him in front of the whole village. There's more of that in like a Dances with Wolves specifically,
100%,
right? The
yeah.
assimilation into a community and changing to that community, learning from a community versus trying to change them yourself.
Well, it's just specifically that scene where it's like he has to admit, like, I am one of them.
Yeah.
Like, I am part of the problem. That's how I know how dangerous they are.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how I know you should leave right now. It's like they're both the exact same message of, like, I am
Yeah.
one of them, having to admit that, saying, like, I've been lying to you guys.
Yes.
Like-
Fascinating. And look, we were a little harsh on Avatar's originality.
Yeah.
Back in our other episode. But I
What?
really us no
Me?
the more I've thought about Avatar, the more I've even the first one. The more I've liked it in
Yeah.
the past couple weeks. Like I know Pandora, whatever. It's just a jungle, but I don't know if I agree with that anymore. There's a huge part of me that's just like I want to hang out on Pandora. You know what I mean? Like especially after seeing the second one. Especially if you see the second one with those vistas when they come out and there's the like.
Don't get me wrong.
Gorgeous.
They're still gorgeous, but they're still very just Earth.
I don't know. Earth doesn't have glowing plants and like
But it does, though.
not like Pandora, and you know
Obviously.
that.
Okay,
Where
yeah,
like
it's-
everything is like you
Right.
just like kind of walk around and you're like, damn, this is beautiful. I'm in the Hallelujah floating mountains as they call them. Like
Right.
I'm into that. I think it's cool and fun,
Yeah.
and I like.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying it's
you
not
don't want to
cool
hang
and
out on
fun.
Pandora.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, for a movie that is like praised for being like an original IP, it's like not very original.
No,
That's my
but-
complaint. Is where it's like everybody's like, see, like you know, like where people keep pointing, like drawing comparisons away from the MCU. They're like, see, this is all just corporate swill that's based off of other IP. But this movie's based off. This is an original movie that is not based off an IP, and it's like it is super original. It's like, yes, it is original. Yes, it is. It is not based off an IP, but it is like it isn't like original. Like,
yeah, but is it James Cameron making it the original movie? I think it's a lot of other people making it that. I think James Cameron has probably talked about that, or the idea of an original. It's not, but James Cameron is also right where the first Avatar specifically didn't have the Captain America's in this one. You know, it didn't have, I got to see the next Batman. It didn't have that, and yet it's still the most successful movie of all time, box office wise. There is something to be said about that, which I think a lot of the like people who articulate their feeling on it being a quote unquote original movie, that's where they always go, where it's like it didn't have this backing of fans, you know?
Right.
It just came out and was the thing. Now the second one is obviously different. It's a sequel that is just the first movie again.
Right. Spoilers for like this movie is going to be. I mean, I think this more than any other movie we've done. This movie's like new. We should at least give a spoiler warning.
It's already made like $500 million.
Still, like,
no. Have we ever not spoiled a movie? I did this bit last time.
We're watching. We're watching this. We're talking about this literally
2 weeks after it's come out. Because Thursday, and then we have Christmas will come out the week after.
No, but you and I, in the current moment, are talking about this the weekend after opening weekend. Or the week after opening weekend.
Correct, yeah.
But this is going to come out for you guys.
The listener.
After Christmas. So, anyway, sorry, just so we can place ourselves in the current moment.
Yes, so we're fresh off of Avatar 2.
And that being said,
we have like a weekend in between.
Spoilers, if you don't want to hear anything about Avatar 2, which I say just go in knowing as little, you know, it's an Avatar movie, you know, like
it's an effective Avatar movie.
It's an effective Avatar movie. But go watch it, pause this, go watch it, and have a good time.
So let's jump into Avatar now, I guess this one.
Yeah, let's just do it.
I made the comment, right? It's just the first Avatar movie.
Yeah, man.
But it is, and I am not complaining. Like, that's the thing I want to say at first. I wish it was more, but a lot of people have in the past couple of days have drawn the comparison to The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Where he's bringing you back in with the big crowd-pleasing one. He's redoing the steps. There are... look, I'm going to get this out of the way. We're going to talk about this. Technically speaking, this might be the most gorgeous thing I've ever seen.
Are we starting with the technical
I just am throwing this out. We're going to get there. We're going to talk about that. There are story issues.
Yeah.
It has a main character problem, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Where it's like, we're kind of, again, like Jake is narrating us through again, but it feels like his son's story. Yeah. And I'm way more with the son for long portions of the movie. And I don't quite know, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's got issues. I think the ending on like a literal cliffhanger was a bad choice. I think he should have ended it with slightly more clarity, but he is setting up 3 more of these. The first one, he didn't know it was going to be a smash hit. This one, I'm pretty sure they're very confident it will be.
Yeah, I mean, is that you said a minute ago, $500 million?
I believe worldwide.
Is that true?
That's me throwing a number out. That's me also having. I read a tweet. I didn't do research. Why would I have done research?
Why would we do research before
That's
this?
dumb.
I'm gonna look it up real quick.
That's for nerds.
Keep talking.
So, it has issues, and I will talk about them, I'm sure. But damn it, if I didn't get swept up in it,
dude, this movie is effective,
and this is with a fucking annoying audience.
Yeah, holy Moses.
Like, there was someone talking behind it, and this was the part that frustrates me, and this is just going to be me ranting for a second.
Go for it.
We talked about this on our Halloween episode, right? When we talked about The Shining a little bit at the end of that episode. People are uncomfortable with emotion in a way that I don't understand. Anytime this movie quieted down and wanted you to feel things, like there's this really, and I pointed it out right after we saw the really touching scene where he's like, all they'll see is an outcast, and he shows his hand because it's different. He's got his, the pinky finger, and she just grabs it and covers it. And she's like, I see you.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's so touching.
Yeah.
But the movie slows down and asks you to invest. And oh my God, the people behind, and it's always where we're sitting. No one else in that audience was.
Literally, everybody else in the audience was pretty good. There were some kids and stuff, which like to sidetrack just a tiny bit. This is not a kids movie,
It's
guys.
violent, dude.
This movie is violent and dark at
Yeah.
times. Why would you? There were kids that were like 5, 6, 7 years old.
Yes.
It's like those kids are too young.
They're going to therapy now.
It's like, yeah, the dude fucking arm getting sliced off, the murdering of the fucking whales that have feelings and can talk.
Which we're going to talk about that a lot.
Yeah, like it is fucking dark and is not fun.
No.
And like this is not a fucking kids movie.
Not that there's not to be fun, not fun to be had within the movie.
No, yeah, don't get me wrong.
But there are chunks of it where you're like, I kind of don't want to be watching this right now.
I was like uncomfortable with the fact that there were children watching it a couple times.
I'm whatever on that. Parents, do what you will. But it's dark. It's too dark for children,
too dark
probably.
for children.
But so like what I'm saying is like audiences can't do it, and it's an Avatar movie. I get it, but at one point I wanted to like I don't shush people in movies. I'm too much of a coward.
I do.
At one point I wanted to turn around and go, "Hey, did you make the movie? You didn't? Oh, okay. Then I don't really give a fuck about what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So let me watch it and shut the hell up."
Yeah.
Like I was livid about. I looked back a bunch. I did the. You know what I mean? I can't stand it. I wanted to invest in. Again, a testament to this movie that it was still so effective. But I think there are scenes that would have made me more emotional had I not been distracted by fucking
100%.
losers.
Yeah.
That is my big rant on that. This movie rules. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Issues included. I walked out going, damn, I haven't seen like a movie like this in a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, I think I'm a little further down on the idea that they did the Force Awakens and just kind of did the first one again to kind of bring you back in. It's like I'm a little bit more frustrated with it because I didn't think that was necessary.
Don't get
to
me wrong.
the same degree.
I'm frustrated as well, but
it's like it felt like it was like we have to do it. This is a whole different world. We're in Watertown now, baby. We have to run it over again just so they are on board. It's like I didn't think like. The amount to which they literally just kind of do the first one over again was astounding.
No, it is astounding. I'm gonna give that, but I think you and I both agree it feels different.
Yeah.
There's a big chunk of this. My brother literally texted me and he was just like, he's like, good thing that ended well. Like, I was like, yo, you didn't like it? And he's like, well, there's so much of it. There's just nothing. And I was like, dude, I could have watched a whole movie of that nothing.
Yeah.
I was loving the hangout stuff.
I agree. Like
those shots of him with the whale, like when they're playing together and he's
holy Moses.
Oh my God, I haven't seen something that beautiful in so long.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna throw a word out that I use facetiously a lot. I try not to use it. From a technical perspective, purely technical, this movie is perfect.
Yeah, I really desperately want to watch it again, not in 3D.
Yes.
Because I feel like that hurt me specifically. I'm not going to say for everybody. Me specifically, it felt like there were times where I was kind of struggling to see things the way, like, I need to watch it in...
I need to see it in not 3D as well. I do recommend you see this in 3D because most of my issues, the color thing I still hate, but
that's my thing.
Most of my issues were not here. The 3D technology is much better. Like, it didn't feel like characters were glitched out in the background to me.
They didn't make that mistake.
You know
again.
what I mean? Like the way he used depth was way more interesting in this one, I thought.
There just weren't times where there were things that were like out of focus when they should have been in.
No,
focus.
exactly. But what I'm saying is the technology is also advanced. Like I think that has to also be said where it just looks better and it looks more seamless. But what I mean by this movie is perfect. The times when CGI fails, there's a couple things. There's lighting will make it not look real. There's anatomically incorrect things. So like the one a lot of VFX artists talk about is the lip. Like you don't have a muscle here on your lip. So when it goes like up and down in the middle, it's like there's no muscle on your face to do that.
Yeah.
So naturally your brain breaks and it goes like breaks away from it, pulls back and goes, that's not real. You don't know why, but that's why.
Yeah.
And then physics. Yeah. Where like a CGI monster will pick someone up and it doesn't quite look like it's actually being held by a monster. Not a frame of this. And there are human characters, not just human like humans in it, human characters that fully interact with the Na'vi CGI 9 feet tall guys. Yeah. And it never once looks even remotely fake to the point that my brain knows 9 feet tall blue aliens don't exist.
Yeah.
It knows that. It is fully aware. But about 10 minutes into the movie, I'm like, why is this real? Why I can't, there's no, where, I don't know how they made this movie.
Yeah. So last time when we talked about Avatar, like my one complaint for the visuals was I was like, sometimes when they have a non-CG character interacting with CG characters, you can kind of tell. And I was like, that's like the one bummer. I mentioned the scene with like Sigourney Weaver where they were like bringing her to the
the Tree of Souls.
The Tree of Souls, and it just doesn't super sell. And then James Cameron said, "Bet."
Yep.
And made an entire movie.
He heard our complaints and then fixed everything.
Literally, like the entire movie is just non-CG characters acting and reacting with CG characters that are like, that's the thing that's crazy to me is like, I know Sam Worthington isn't 4 feet taller than that kid playing Spider. But every time they're interacting with each other, it is as a 9 foot tall blue man and as a 5.5 foot, 6 foot tall. I don't know how tall this person is. Like human person. And every time it is utterly fucking seamless. Every time the guys on the boat are interacting with Quaritch, or I don't know how to actually pronounce his name.
Whatever.
Quaritch,
bad
right?
guy.
The bad guy. Lang. What's his first name? Steve?
Justin? I don't know. Whatever. Who
Whatever.
cares? I love him, but who cares?
Yeah. That's part of the thing that I was talking about earlier was like, man, they really just brought him all the way back.
That's another story thing. There are silly things in this movie. There are big ass swings, but I don't give a shit, kind of.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely have issues. If I wanted to turn my brain on and really dig into it, I could, but at the end of the day, it's an effective story.
Yeah.
That for an hour of it, my butt is clenched. Like, I'm like, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God,
Okay, just to I want to nitpick on one thing. I don't even nitpick. I just question one thing. So, like halfway through the movie, Sigourney Weaver's daughter, whatever her name is, she like communes with the Tree of Souls in underwater.
Water Tree of Souls.
And she, sees the real life Sigourney Weaver in the memory, and they have this moment, and then she's like trying to tell her something, it gets sucked out and like has a seat. And then that never gets paid off in this movie. Does that bother you?
Yes, but it's clear that he's setting up a sequel. And does that frustrate me? Yes, because literally everyone complains about Marvel movies doing this.
Yes.
This one is doing this.
That's my point.
And don't get me wrong, that frustrates me. But also, like, I recognize, and it's so much of the conversation around 2 is 3 has already been shot and 3 is coming. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
So much of it, I think these two are going to play like a 1-2. You know what I mean? More so than 1 and 2 do. Like 2 and 3 are going to be the pair.
Because 2 almost kind of sort of pretends the first one doesn't exist.
A little bit.
Like kind of like not really, but a little.
Yeah. Look,
because it resets a lot of stuff. Like like the fact that it resets, we're no longer in the forest. We are going to be in the water from here on out, seemingly. That is the way
that is my bigger complaint than the, because there's a couple plot lines that don't really, whatever, they're set up for later. Like they're arcs that have started that haven't finished.
Yeah.
That's the thing. The one that more bothers me is at the end of this movie, they're like, we're of the water now, and it's like literally I thought, fuck them other guys, who cares? Yeah. It's like that is my one bigger complaint when it's like, no. Isn't the theme harmony between land and ocean and forest and desert, and that's what we should be striving towards, right? Yeah. He should be unifying the people, which something I love is the Na'vi are already a little unified. They're not warring with each other, at least that we've seen.
Yeah.
And I like that he shows up and there's a little turmoil, but they're very clearly not hostile to one another.
Oh, yeah, it's clearly just an apprehension more than it is aggression.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
But like, my bigger issue is like, right, Neytiri doesn't give up her dragon, her pterodactyl, whatever we're calling it. Her banshee is what they call him, I think. Jake does.
Like, does he give him up?
We never see him again.
Right.
We never. That is my thing. Where like she in the final battle has hers, which is like a tactical thing, which I like about this movie. Is characters make battle decisions based on who they are.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting, and it makes for a better movie.
Yeah.
Even the fucking whale. You know what I mean? Which, by the way, that whale is a homie.
That dude,
I love that guy.
That guy rules, man.
But it's that kind of stuff That is the more of the emotional side of it that I struggle with. And this one feels a little less spiritual while also feeling way more spiritual in moments. Like you were saying, the first, like this one's more effective, I think, right? Can you agree that this one's more effective than the first one?
Yeah. I think so.
And the way you put it is, in this one, in the first one, the like, fuck the colonizers moment. The whole movie is fuck the colonizers, but the moment when you're like, all of them have to die is when they blow up Home Tree.
Right.
And that, by the way, is deeply effective to me. I think it's a beautiful, like, horrific moment. They're like beautifully emotional, but like horrific what you're watching, and I connect with it. In this one, you watch them torture and kill a space whale.
Yeah.
And then there's the baby and all of this stuff where it's like, it is horrifying. And by up till this point, we know these whales are deeply emotional. They connect with the Na'vi. They're sacred to the Na'vi, so we're like, we know what this means. And then they take it a step further where they're like, they're more emotional than humans. Like, they feel more empathy. But they don't pull their punches. You watch it happen, and you watch it in gruesome detail, and you're like, when that happened, I was like, I want every human to burn. All of them.
Dude,
like,
look, I as we talked about last time, James Cameron is not my favorite human being, but like, he a real one for that.
No,
like he is a freaking comrade in this fight.
Yes.
And like, it is clear what he is doing. You know what I mean? Like, last one was like, the first one, it's like more subtle, and it feels a little bit more abstract because it's like, oh, they're aliens. It's like this, it's a tree, whatever. It's like, in this one, it is very specifically, it's like, no, that's a whale, dude.
Yeah.
Like, that's a whale. It sounds like a whale, looks exactly like a whale, and people are doing this in real life on the planet we live on now.
And there's an interesting, just from a storytelling standpoint, right? The first one has this moment where all the banshee and all the creatures in the forest attack and join the fight, and she's like, Awa heard you, right? Yeah. This idea of a literal higher power intervening to protect nature protecting itself. Yeah. This one doesn't have that.
I mean, it has the whale,
but the whale is more of a character than an abstract.
It's a person.
You know what I mean? The whale is a person that makes a decision, gets angry because his friend might die, and attacks to save him. Yeah, it's a decision a character makes. Yeah, versus the abstract of nature will defend itself.
Yeah, Awa is not a character.
Awa is not yet.
It's a force of nature. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, force of nature, a god, a deity, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. That's what it is. And this one, and then the one frustrating thing is, this one kind of undermines that idea of Awa intervening, right? Yeah. Because when they're like, oh, we're trying to fly missions into the Hallelujah Mountains, our ships get attacked. And they kind of imply that it's because they're human, not because they're... But
as if it's like an immune response or something.
Versus an intention, or like, I didn't like that as much. That's a small, tiny thing. But I had the thought watching the movie, I went, funny. Oh, that's weird. Because I love that moment in the battle when she cries out, Awa heard you, and then it's just all of nature fighting to defend its home. Yeah. I love that. I think that's a beautiful idea. This one doesn't have it, but I think this one is better for it. Right? Like, The Way of Water is somehow both way smaller, way bigger, and way more personal. Like, the first one is an all-out war in that last scene. Yeah. I mean, this one is like a skirmish where most of the characters leave after they accomplish the mission, and then it's just the Sullys fighting back. Yeah. It's super interesting, but it's way more effective because that last hour, which is, by the way, one of the best constructed blockbuster sequences I have ever seen.
That's why I want to go see it again.
I know. Just you want to watch that last hour and just be like, how did you do this? Like, I need to... One, I mentioned I don't know how they made this movie, right? Like, I know how movies are made. Yeah. I know how CGI works, at least on a base level where I can understand, okay, this is a plate, and then they shot it, and they layered this in, and they comped this out. They blended these. I don't know how Avatar was made. You could tell me every shot in it was 100% CGI, and I would kind of believe you. Or you could tell me it's all real, and I would be like, yeah, it all looks real. Like, I don't know what did they, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's kind of like where you see the behind the scenes of like Lord of the Rings, and you see how they did the force perspective stuff. You're like, man, that is so cool and seamless in the movie. I could never imagine how they figured that out. And this is like that times 30.
Yeah. It feels miraculous.
And when I was mentioning earlier, it's like, like Sam Worthington is not a 9 foot tall blue person, and that kid is not like that kid is person height. And like the fact that it is so utterly seamless, these two performers, like, cause you know that like again, but it's like, is it Sam Worthington and that kid in the same scene acting together? Is it stitched
or is
together
it just
in
the
some
kid
way?
on a shooting on a little stage, and Sam Worthington is just standing in the booth where they're scanning his face and he's acting?
It's so good.
How do they do it?
No matter what, there are so many times where they are interacting with each other, and it is so utterly seamless. I do not understand how they made this freaking movie. It's astounding.
Now, here's another fun weird while we're talking about James Cameron kind of remaking the first one, and like he kind of just remade all of his movies in this one. It's got the water of Titanic. It's got the like Space Marine squad of aliens. It's got the kind of like Terminator stuff. It's like he weirdly just made all of his movies again in one. And I'm here for it.
Really
like it's
funny.
so funny to think about.
Yeah, the ship of Titanic.
Yeah.
Like being stuck in the ship of
Yep.
Damn,
He just made all his movies again.
Cracked the code on that one, dude.
Freaking Twitter did. But
oh, really?
I just read that tweet and I went, oh my God. And I literally rewatched Aliens since like today. I rewatched it. Man, it's like all cynicism in me is washed away for this. I just am in it. Like, again, I said up top, there are issues. There are story issues.
It's imperfect.
There are things specifically from a story standpoint.
Yeah. But you could make. I would make that same argument about the first one.
Of course.
It's like because I thought the visuals are so utterly spectacular in the first one, minus a couple,
the blending of real and fake,
nitpicky tiny little things.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking, I could count on one hand how many times it bothered me.
Yeah.
In the first one, it's like just nitpicky tiny little stuff, and like. But the visuals is where it stands like head and shoulders over any other movie. This is that even more. Like,
but with the story, even with the story, look, the story of the first one is super simple. We've seen it a million times. We know it. This one has more issues from a story standpoint, but I am way more invested. Like I said, I really genuinely believe the whole last hour of the movie, they could kill anyone. They could kill Jake. Yeah. They could kill Neytiri. They could kill Spider. They could kill any of his children.
I was super under the impression before this movie that Neytiri was not making out of this movie.
Oh, because Zoe Saldana.
Literally no reason other than, man, I like just based off of some of the trailers and that kind of stuff. Like I for like literally a week before the movie came out, I was super obsessed with the trailers. Like I was watching.
They're so good.
Every scrap of footage I could for some reason. I don't know why I was so obsessed.
There's specifically the one where he's like narrating. He's like, the way of water connects all things.
Yeah.
That trailer is so good.
Just the trailers, man. Just all the trailers are good.
But look, my point. But there are things in this movie from a story like. It's more effective. I'm way more in it with all these characters. I feel more for these kids.
Yeah.
You know, like, not that I didn't feel for Jake, like, even with the issue of, like, I'm not quite sure who I'm supposed to be following entirely. There are times where Jake and Neytiri don't really feel like characters at all.
Yeah, that's my overarching kind of complaint with the story is I do feel like it is a little overstuffed with characters.
Yes.
Like, there are just too many characters going on.
Yeah, but again, and I just keep going. It was more effective. I felt more. Yeah. I was more engaged. I felt like the characters were a little more fleshed out, even if it's overstuffed. You know what I mean? Like, I still feel like when a character makes a decision, I'm like, yeah, I totally understand that. Like,
yeah.
I know everyone's complaining about the spider thing. The spider thing does not bother me for the same reasons. It doesn't bother me near as much as everyone else does. People are complaining that Spider felt wishy-washy, like he was jumping sides. I disagree casually, where it's like, every time it matters, he chooses the Na'vi. As soon as the two sons jump in to save him, there's not a second's hesitation. He jumps in and fights with them and kills those guys.
I mean, it's just like how much he helps the bad dudes. It's like how much, like, showing where they're to go to the Banshees, like just all that kind of stuff. It's like as much of the like he's just doing too much for them, like the entire movie, and then immediately, like when they when the Sullys show up, he's just like, oh yeah, guys, I'm with you guys. It's how much
I agree.
That is the part that frustrates me. It's like, I can understand the decision at the end. I can understand that he saved him, so he's gonna save him. I understand that. That's not the part that bothers me. It is everything before that.
No, I agree. But there's also so much of him, like, his choices between torture and This, and I think he kind of believes they're not going to get far, and so he's like the quote unquote translator, but he never actually does that.
Right.
Other than the one scene where he's trying to stop them from killing these people. The Banshee thing, like he's trying to sabotage him by being like, Na'vi kids do this, and then he's impressed when he survives. He's won over a little bit. Like, to me, it feels like he's won over enough before. That's not perfect. It doesn't work completely, but like, I understand where the character's coming. That's what I'm saying.
I can understand where they were trying to go with it, but again, it didn't work.
This is gonna for you, I should say, like for the majority of people. Just for me, I walked out because I had heard that complaint before seeing it, and I was like, that is not as drastic as everyone is saying it is.
No, it's not. Like, look, it's not movie
there are other
ruining.
story issues that are way more prevalent that everyone's ignoring, in my opinion.
Here's my thing, man. Kate Winslet is a wonderful actress. And she came out of James Cameron retirement for this movie. And man, she was on screen for like 4 minutes. Doesn't she have like the record for like holding her breath on screen for the longest time?
Yeah.
And I cannot tell where that scene was. I have no idea for what scene.
She had more screen time than 4 minutes. But
obviously I'm exaggerating. But she was like, she's got that first interaction.
Should be in the next one.
Should be in the next one. But it was just like funny. I don't know. There are characters like that where it's like it feels like, again, it's like it feels like we're setting them up for the future more than we are like actually being used in this.
The story's not perfect.
Yeah,
but it's better. The story is not as good as the first one, and from a like execution standpoint, but it's a better movie.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I agree with that.
I'm taking the technical side out of it. The technical stuff is obviously better. It's had 13 years to develop, but the story still works more with way more issues.
It is way more effective for sure.
I would die for the youngest Sully kid. When she gets tied up for the third time, she's like, I can't believe I'm tied up again. I was like, I want to kill all of them for you, child.
Literally,
like,
that girl is
I've got your
cute.
back. Oh, she's so like, and that's the effective thing about it is like, I really didn't want anyone to die. There was no character where I was indifferent about it.
Yeah.
I connected with the guy who I kind of think is more the main character than Jake, because we're with him way more. Jake's second son. Yeah. The youngest son in the family, right? I connected with him quite a bit, but I also connected with the idea of the older brother with the pressure and like the younger brother. Like I was in. Yeah. I'm in. The fights in this movie are so good. The whole last sequence where he's like, I need you with me now. And they go tear through all these guys. Oh my God, this movie is so cool. Yeah. And also I could just watch it like a nature documentary.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Like,
if they made an in-universe nature documentary, I would watch the shit out of that.
Shit out of that, man.
I would watch the shit out of that.
It's so cool. Like, I don't know.
Dude, why does this make me want to go to Disney World and go to the freaking Avatar park?
I bet. Like,
I want to do it.
Now, here's the thing I want to talk about in terms of Fern Gully.
Yeah.
And in terms of Dances with Wolves, and in terms of
Pop it off, sister.
So, to bring up something a bit heavy.
Let's do it.
When 2020, when the Black Lives Matter movement started really like full force. Yeah. A lot of people started making doing what we do. We look at culture, we look at pop culture, we look at things and artifacts of it, where people were talking about movies like Boys in the Hood and Do the Right Thing, is these movies that came out 30 years ago about the exact same thing we're still talking about now. Yeah. So that is like the base ground of where this thought came from. Insert any movie about nature conservation or whatever. You have Princess Mononoke. Princess Mononoke. No,
I'm gonna take your word for it. I haven't seen Princess Mononoke.
Yes, Princess Mononoke. It's a movie about nature and harmony and how humans destroy. Right. That's what the movie's about. Yeah. You have all the ones we've talked about: Pocahontas, Pocahontas 2, Pocahontas. There's not a Pocahontas 3. Any movie about nature, it's like we've been talking about this same thing for 30 years, and you know what only gets worse every day? These subjects. Right? Like, that is something I'm super, like you said, James Cameron's a real one for this. Yeah. Because he knows everybody's going to go see Avatar: The Way of Water. Right. And he's going to make them sit there and watch them fucking kill a whale. Yeah. He's going to make you watch it in a giant blockbuster crowd-pleasing movie. He's going to make you go, damn, we got to take care of the ocean. Yeah. And he is not just making that subtle. He's making you look at it, watch it and feel it.
He is doing it nearly Fern Gully levels of in your face.
Which is one of the things film is so important, right? Like, it puts you in a position you would never normally be in.
Yeah.
You get to experience through some small way the life experience of something else or the horrors of something else from in a palatable way that makes you feel hopefully a little guilty that you've been letting this happen.
That motherfucker puts you in IMAX 3D watching this dude get murked on screen.
It is painful.
Yeah.
Real one for that.
Real
you know
one
what I
for
mean?
that,
Like
yeah.
I hope people watch this movie and genuinely care about this and do anything to change things.
Yeah.
Like I know they won't.
Yeah.
Because I know this movie's also talking about that. They're killing these whales and dumping their carcasses in the ocean for a little vial of immortality juice, which is a wild thought. That'll come up later. Whatever. Who cares?
Will it? I will find out.
It will. I've heard James Cameron talk about some stuff for the future ones, and he's like, "Oh, the next one takes place 400 years in the future." And I was like, "No, it doesn't. Bullshit."
You know what? One thing I'm gonna say. One thing that annoys me about the first one. They named the mineral from the first one unobtainium. That is the worst name for a fake thing ever. Okay.
I have one.
Oh, I am speaking in hyperbole. That being said,
I'm gonna say mine though.
say it.
Transformers 2: Revenge of the Fallen. The villain's name is the Fallen, and the weapon to beat him is the Matrix of Leadership.
Okay. All right. When you're being compared
to Michael Bay's
Michael
writing.
Bay's Transformers 2, you're not in good company, James.
Well, again, we talk about that unsubtle nature, right? Like unobtainium, whatever. Which that feels like some dumb businessman would call it. He's like, "What? It's really hard to obtain." Unobtainium.
That drives me up the wall
It's
every
terrible.
time I think of it. And I'm glad that they changed the MacGuffin from unobtainium to whale brain juice.
Yes. Look, but my point in this is like, I think movies need to be more unafraid of doing things like this.
Amen.
Blockbusters
Amen.
specifically need to be more unafraid of doing things like this.
Right.
I'm tired of safe stuff. You know what I mean? I want to walk out of like everything everywhere all at once, right? This is a movie about not time travel, but like interdimensional, multiversal bullshit. And it really comes down to, what if we were just kinder to one another?
Yeah.
Like, I love Top Gun Maverick to death, but that movie is so apolitical.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so, like, aren't fighter jets cool? Join the Navy.
Yeah, 100%. That is like every Marvel movie.
Yes.
That is like, look, like again, like this is earlier. I'm kind of defending Marvel. That being said, like clearly the MCU has a lot of issues. That being one of them. Being
like there are instances. You get instances in Marvel movies of
Right.
like, oh wow, you're doing
of
something.
actual kind of deep conversation.
Yeah, but
those are few and far between.
few and far between. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I want more, and I want more movies like this that. A lot of like Guillermo del Toro, I think, and a lot of directors have been like, it's been a while since you've seen a movie, capital M movie, and this is the definition of a capital M movie.
Yeah,
like it is an experience. My cousin texted me, he's like, "Oh, what should I see?" And he sent me a couple formats. He's like, "I don't like 3D," and I was like, "Look, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. You need to go see it in 3D." Like, you need to just go again later.
You need to see it in IMAX,
and that's what I took, because he was like, "I don't know if I want to go in IMAX." I was like, "Dude, see this movie in IMAX."
It's like that's. I wish I could see it in IMAX without 3D.
I'm sure at some point they might later
We'll
in the
see.
run. I hope, but it's.
I am also incredibly interested to see this movie in high frame rate. I think I'm going to prioritize that.
Yeah, I'm
'Cause,
gonna
like-
be out of town, so I hope the high frame rate. I mean, not that many movies come out with high frame rate stuff, so hopefully when I get back, I'll be able to.
After the disastrous runs of every other hype movie that's tried it. I'm interested to see how this.
How do you feel about high frame rate?
I've never seen one in high frame rate.
No,
This
but
movie-
like you've seen high frame rate stuff though.
Oh, I mean, have I seen like 60 FPS footage on YouTube? Yeah.
Yeah, but how do you feel
I
about?
mean, I've shot 60 FPS.
Yeah, but how do you feel about it from like the little experience you've had in that way?
I think it is incredibly dumb for a movie to be in anything other than 24 frames per second.
Yeah, outside of like specific effects you want to like for moments, but like shooting sequences in different frame rates is so weird to me.
I think it is. It doesn't.
Like, look, here's something. Into the Spider-Verse, different because it's animated, But Into the Spider-Verse animates certain characters at different frame rates than other characters at times to sell an effect.
It's also an animated
No,
movie.
but that's my point.
Like,
But what I'm saying is like, it's still It's still a literal frame rate that they have mathematically dotted out, right? Like there are times when to have Peter B. Parker be more fluid, he's 24 frames versus Miles is at like 12.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To make him more stuttery.
He's done 1s and 2s or however, whatever the animation.
Yeah. It's done to do that, to sell an effect. So it's like I get what people are doing. I don't give a shit about high frame rate, but I want to see this in high frame rate just to see it.
Yeah, I like I said, all the other ones that have done it, I didn't want to go see that movie. So it's
Gemini Man being like the most famous
Gemini Man.
one.
Oh my God, I did not want to see that movie, and I'm glad I didn't.
I saw it. Not in theaters. I didn't see it in theaters.
Oh, well, there you go. Okay, well, there you go. I didn't want to waste my money on it, is what I'm saying. Oof. And then like The Hobbit tried it. This is the thing I don't understand is like, for a movie for effects-driven movies, it doesn't make any sense because you're literally doubling the amount of frames. You're doubling the amount of work that has to be done. So it's like, I understand you're trying to sell the realism or whatever, and it makes more sense for a movie like Avatar, where it's like, so it is like a completely different world that they really want to immerse you in. They want to make you feel, they want to make it feel real for you.
Yeah, that's English. Yeah.
So it like makes a little bit more sense to me that way. That being said, from what I've heard of the high frame rate cut is it's not every scene. Not every scene is done high frame rate. So
and sometimes they'll switch between scenes. Like in the middle of a scene, like shots you have
certain shots will be high frame rate.
That's when it would drive me up the wall.
Like that's why I didn't want to go see it in my first viewing, but I will. I am more interested to go see it in a second viewing.
And I know
in high frame rate.
I know you're more sensitive to like the IMAX changing aspect ratios than I am.
I've cooled on that a little bit. That like you know what fucking did it for me?
Disney Plus.
Dune made me like, all right, I see why this is cool.
Because we were talking and I had mentioned I wished the Dune 4K did the aspect ratio change, and you kind of went, really?
Okay. It doesn't bother. Okay, when I'm watching it on an IMAX screen, it didn't bother me more than I thought it would. That being said, on a TV, that's different. I'm talking about.
Didn't you watch one of the Disney Plus Marvel movies and go, "Oh, wasn't that annoying"?
Oh no, I hated it. Oh, I hate it.
Which movie did you watch?
I don't remember. But the problem here is, I think it was Endgame, or it might have been Civil War. I don't remember. Because I remember why I hated it. It's because specifically for the Disney Plus version, it wasn't like it was just one clip. It was not like the movie itself was one continuous piece of footage. They were clearly like cutting between them because there was a frame gap every time. So
there's that. Yes, I know what you're talking about.
But like there would be a cut, and it would cut to the next frame that would be in 16:9, and then it would jump to where it's supposed to. So it's like there would be one frame that was in 16:9, and then the next frame.
You know what we should watch?
It's bad. It was bad.
There are two movies that came out.
I'm explaining this poorly.
There are two movies in 2022 that came out that just got physical media releases. I have both of them in Steelbook because I'm a nerd. Nope and Top Gun Maverick.
That do that
okay. On the disc, and apparently it's like the best it's ever been in a home release.
All right,
we should, but because most of like Nope, when it goes to IMAX aspect, it's sequences for the most part. They'll cut to shots that aren't. But for the most part, they keep it as like for sequences. Top Gun Maverick being the same way.
Right.
But it doesn't bother me as much. The Disney Plus ones are rough because of that. Because of exactly what you're cutting to a shot and then seeing it, instead of cutting to a shot just in the bigger aspect ratio.
It's like it's like a frame too late every time.
Yeah.
And it's super weird. I don't understand why they let that happen.
Yeah.
But the movie that made me like hate it when this happens was I was watching Kong Skull Island.
Wild.
It changes aspect ratios like a bunch in that movie. And I was like, whoa, why do they, it pulls me out every time. But on a big screen, it doesn't bother me that much.
When you watch The Dark Knight Rises, it does the same thing. The Blu-ray, I believe, just the regular Blu-ray.
When I was watching Dunkirk, I went and saw Dunkirk. I even have the little, it's on my desk. I can show you guys later. I went and saw Dunkirk in 70 millimeter IMAX. And that one, that one also did that, where it's like there are sequences that aren't shot on IMAX,
Yeah.
but then there are a bunch that are, and so it will switch. It didn't bother me then because it's 70 millimeter IMAX.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool. But then there are others that do, like, then there's Kong Skull Island. It's like, I don't think it will work for me as well on a TV screen than on a screen that's 30 feet tall.
Well, of course. But my take on it is like, one, if you didn't see Dune in IMAX, you kind of didn't see
missed
Dune.
out. Yeah.
Like,
Shout out to Meg because she didn't get to see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
it's coming back.
All
When
right.
Dune Part 2 comes out, they're doing a double feature.
All right. This is to Cinemark. This is for you, Cinemark. Fuck you. I cannot stand this like fake IMAX bullshit.
Oh,
With the
their
XD,
Atmos,
their
XD, and
XD
stuff.
screens, where it's like, it's not IMAX, but it wants you to think that it is, because the IMAX version is legitimately a different version of the movie.
Yes.
But the XD screen is just a tall screen. It's just a big ass screen. And I'm like, it's so confusing, purposefully so.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it also fuck AMC a little bit, because apparently they're the only ones who have access to the IMAX cut of movies. Like, I wish.
Wait, to AMC's?
Yeah.
Oh, that's region specific. There are certain regions where AMC isn't big, so other theaters get the
Okay, then
IMAX
that
stuff.
yeah. Well, then
Like
in
when I was-
DFW is one where the only screens
Yeah.
in DFW that are IMAX are like specifically in AMC.
When I was living in Utah, it was a theater chain called Megaplex.
Yeah.
Were the only ones you could get IMAX.
Yeah.
And the theater close to me had a great IMAX screen with a great sound
Yeah.
system. Like, I saw the Batman 3 times on that screen. Of
course you did.
Of course I did. To be clear, I saw the Batman 4 times in theaters, every single one of them in IMAX,
Yeah.
because I'm a real fan.
And then like Alamo, they've got The Big Show, but I'm pretty sure that's another like XD, and there's only one in DFW in Denton. Like there's nobody who does. I think I'm lying slightly. I think there is one Cinemark that I'm pretty sure I saw Dunkirk in 70 millimeter IMAX at a Cinemark. Every other time, every other screen that I can find that's IMAX is at freaking AMC. And I wish, please, Alamo. This one's for you, Alamo. Get a couple IMAX screens that aren't in Denton, please. For me. I'll go there every weekend. I promise you. I won't, but
I will.
He will. He'll do it.
Literally.
Yeah, I kind of can't stand, like, IMAX frustrates me deeply for that reason, just because it's like I can't ever, like, it's hard to find which actually has the IMAX cut,
and then
which theater
Dune
has the IMAX.
specifically, there were different IMAX cuts. There was true IMAX, then there was like regular IMAX, but true IMAX screens are like fucking few and far between.
Right.
Where it's like
those are the
even
like
taller,
dome.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, it's like you can't find those anywhere but like LA, New York, and Chicago. You know what I mean?
Pretty
Like,
sure the like Dallas Museum of Natural History,
but
or
that's still
something
different.
like that.
That's not designed for like cinema watching.
Right.
You know what I mean? I've been to that. It's cool,
So
but
have
it's
I.
not. It's not designed for cinema watching.
No.
But anyway, back to our conversation on Avatar 2: The Way of Water. I'm joined today by Jake Sully. How you doing, Jake? And he just kills me because I'm human. I wouldn't blame him. Anyway,
family.
see this movie in the biggest, best format you can.
Yeah.
I would say try to see it with an audience, even though you run the risk of shitty audiences.
Yeah.
But depending on where you are, like, again, I think audiences in Texas are just shittier, because in Utah, I almost never had issues with audiences.
Dude.
Here, it's even Alamo. Alamo, this one's for you. Don't be the cinema lover's place unless you're actually going to enforce the bullshit disruptive audience stuff. Every time I go to an Alamo, something happens. And I'm like, to the point where it's almost more than when I go to other theaters.
I can't believe that. That is not my experience. There are some there are some times where something will happen, but not every time I go. I do think legitimately, I feel like there is a marked change between when they have got their like pre-show stuff. They're like hey, shut up, don't talk during the movie. They just recently changed it, I think at the beginning of this year, to a kind of, it's like softer and nicer. Before it was like way more, now it's got like this kind of like just
But seriously, this theater is now a quiet zone. Yeah.
Where before it was seriously this theater is now a quiet zone. Like it was way harsher. And there were also like, there was like less like please and thank yous and more like dude seriouslys.
Yeah.
So like I legitimately think there was like a marked difference in the audience between those two. I remember, I'm pretty sure Alamo on their Instagram did a poll, or it might have been on like, I can't remember where I saw it, but I saw a poll of like, which version do you prefer, the old one or the new one? And it was seriously like 90% the old one.
Yeah, like for the listener, the one listener who doesn't know, not the one listener who doesn't know, the one listener we have. Alamo is like I said, the cinema lovers theater.
Yeah,
you
man.
go there, they actually have people to enforce phones.
Yeah.
If you get one warning and if you go again, you're kicked out of the theater.
Yep.
The problem is theaters are struggling. And I think Alamo doesn't want to run the risk of causing a scene anymore, of like kicking somebody out. That's the only thing that makes sense to me why it would have changed when it changed, like you're saying.
See, but the funny
because
thing
theaters came back and then they were like, fuck, no one's going to the movies because, well, look, this is a bigger issue. The Fabelmans is already on VOD, a movie that everyone should have gone and seen because it's amazing.
The Banshees of Inisherin as well.
Even the Banshees of Inisherin had a longer fucking run.
Yeah. Did it?
Yes. Yeah, I saw the Banshees of Inisherin in like October. Oh no! In early November, like 2 or 3 weeks before
That being said,
the Fabelmans came out.
It was on. So I mean, like it was like a month after its run. Like it was like not. It was
yeah,
like
but the Fabelmans was 2 weeks.
Damn. Okay, I didn't realize.
You know
it
what I
was
mean?
that close.
Like we saw the Fabelman 2 or 3 weeks later. Add 2 or 3 weeks back to the Banshees of Inisherin.
Yeah.
And then it had that plus all the time that the other one's been out. It's
Damn.
It's fucked, dude.
It's fucked. I don't know what my one thing with Alamo is. Literally earlier this year, they were showing I can't remember for which movie, but it was, you know, they'll have those like funny clips of like, you know, if you talk, you will get, you know,
we'll send ninjas to
the Cyclops will cut your head off, whatever it is. But it was literally a phone call. It was a recorded phone call of like a Karen like complaining about being kicked out of the theater for talking. And it was literally an actual recording being like, if you don't want this to happen to you, don't talk or text during the movie. Look, so it's like they're still like hitting it hard.
They are, but what I'm saying is they're obviously not going to enforce it unless someone throws a card up anymore.
Yeah.
The only time I have ever seen someone come in and go, put your phone away. And they came in hard, by the way. They were not nice. They were like, put your phone away.
Yeah.
Kind of loud. And I was like, fucking go. Right. I wanted to cheer. It's because I saw somebody write and put the thing up and they came and grabbed it and then looked over and went, put your phone away. And then walked off. They won't just enforce it when they're clearly seeing it happen.
I have never seen them enforce it without that before.
But what I'm saying is they should.
Right.
If you're going to pitch yourself as this, if one of the waiters is walking through, they should walk out. And I'm not saying it should be the waiters. This should be a designated job.
Yeah.
They should walk out, tell the big fucking motherfucking guy should walk in and go, put your phone away or leave.
Yeah.
Why are we talking about this so much?
I don't know. That being said, like I don't think Alamo is that bad. Like you've had some worse experiences than I have. I think Alamo still is vastly better than AMC or definitely Cinemark. I have not had a good experience in a Cinemark in like a decade.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna tell you you're wrong. It's your experience. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I mean, yeah, it's like I literally like we had that one Shining screening that was wild. And then there were like have been a couple times here and there where it's like
my screening of Glass Onion fucking infuriated me. Of course, it was the guy I was sitting next to. Also, he was having a good time. I was happy he was having a good time. He's just being annoying.
Tell the story. Actually, like this is a good one for the pod.
We'll talk about Avatar more maybe. I don't know. I went to see Glass Onion in theaters. Because it should have been in theaters for a full theatrical run. Fuck
for
you,
real.
Netflix. Legitimately, that's a whole other that's a whole other conversation about how much I want Netflix to fucking start being smart.
Yeah.
Whatever. The guy sitting right next to me was so invested in the movie. Glass Onion is twisty and turny, you know what I mean? But it's not that twisty and turny.
No.
Any reveal. I mean, I don't think this guy knew Daniel Craig was in the movie. Because when Daniel Craig popped up, he went, oh! And he went, oh, this is great! like that loud in the middle of a movie, right? And he would go, "Ooh." I was so over it, dude. It's like, how do you look at a man who's that happy and go, shut the fuck up? I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But god damn it, did I want to?
Yeah, no kidding.
It was like, I'm all about laughing and being into it, but there were times where it was so, he was like, "This is great." He's like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "Stop, dude, stop. I'm trying to experience it.
Right.
You're being weird.
Right.
It's annoying." He was having a great time. Again, I'm happy for the guy. Just be a better cinema goer.
Respect your fellow cinema lovers, as Alamo puts it.
Anyway, that aside, theaters stuff. Avatar: The Way of Water, you should see in a theater.
Yeah.
You should see in the best screen. Don't just go when there's a time. Seek out a great screen.
I agree.
Because damn, this movie is pretty. And you think you know what I'm saying when I say good CGI, but it's legitimately far and away the best CGI we have ever seen. And will probably be the best CGI we've ever seen for a long time, until the next Avatar movie.
Yep.
Nothing will catch up in between now and then.
Yep.
Final thoughts on Avatar. Anything else we didn't talk? We didn't talk about Sigourney Weaver playing a teenager.
There were like a couple of those where it was like, man, they really just brought him all the way back, and man, they just really brought Sigourney Weaver to play a teenager.
Weird. And that's another plot of like, who's her father is a weird thing that were made a big deal.
Weird,
Whatever.
immaculate inception or whatever.
Yeah, the origins
Conception,
unknown
not
or
inception.
whatever.
Sorry, I'm an idiot. It was Leonardo DiCaprio. Oh my God, Leonardo DiCaprio is gonna be Sigourney Weaver's dad. It's gonna happen.
Whoa. Actually, though, a little bit. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I was just about to say, when are they bringing Arnold Schwarzenegger into this? It's a weird choice.
It's a weird choice, and there were moments where she's great and moments where it fully didn't work for me. But it's like you said after we walked in, I can't tell if it's that I know it's Sigourney Weaver playing a teenager or if it's not working.
I can just tell that it's a 60-year-old woman.
Yeah, it's like it's if you didn't know, like I would love to erase that from my brain and somehow miss that it was Sigourney Weaver and see how I felt.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But that's going to be something I can never fully know.
Yeah, yeah, and also the fact that they just like completely brought back Quaritch or whatever his name is.
Yeah, it's like I get it. He's amazing. I love that dude, and I think he's actually really good. And like I think they make him more of an actual character in this one than he was in the last one.
Like that's true. They do that one well, but it's still just man, they just brought him back.
Getting him back is silly. When he's back and what they do with it makes actual sense, and I'm here for it.
What they did with it was cool, I think.
Oh no, don't get me wrong. From a like, oh, interesting idea, cool. It's how they did it, where he's watching the video and it's like, so this is my brain. You're gonna go get some revenge now, and it's like, this is what we were doing now. That scene was uncomfortable to watch.
Giovanni Ribisi just got paid to be on screen for like literally 30 seconds. Yeah. I wonder how much that paycheck was, because I have to imagine it wasn't small. Just to be like, this is it. I'm giving you some exposition for like 14 seconds, and then is it Stephen Lang or
Stephen Lang?
Is it Stephen Lang, or am I thinking of Ant-Man? Is Ant-Man Stephen?
Scotland.
That's Scotland. Okay, so Stephen Lang. So Stephen Lang was
Stephen Lang.
Yeah, it was like, I could do it. Like, it's seriously, man. Like, and Giovanni's Ribisi's name is in the credits. It's like, it's like you've got like freaking Sam Worthington, Zoe Saldana, Giovanni Ribisi.
One other person I want to shout out that we haven't talked about. Yeah, I just need to look up his name and make sure I get it right. He plays the chief of the
Yes, he's really good.
Where is he? Why is he so low on the list?
Because Hollywood's racist.
Oh, Cliff Curtis. Cliff Curtis.
Yes.
That dude rules in like everything he's in.
Yeah.
But specifically this, I was like, dude is great as this role.
Yeah.
Super into that. I want to see more of him.
You can feel his like Maori like heritage in this in a really, really cool way.
Yeah, dude. I'm all in for that character. I thought he was fun and cool. Like I want to know more about him. Obviously, he's kind of more the stoic leader right now. But I like his like compassion. That's the thing I love about it, is he's a compassionate character.
Yeah.
I love that. It's so good. I'm in, dude. I'm in. Yeah, I'm gonna be the guy, the tatted up Na'vi dude.
Yeah, literally.
But Avatar's cool.
One thing that I don't think we did enough last time to talk about, or at least just to mention, is like kind of the white savior stuff of the first one. Like that's an issue. I'm not smart enough or cultured enough to like talk about it in a way that is actually meaningful. Please go do your own research, that kind of thing. Like that is an issue. Like the kind of the white savior narrative. I mean, specifically with like movies like Pocahontas, movies like Wolves. What is it? The other one.
Dances with Wolves.
Dances with Wolves. Like, and like that kind of narrative that they're pulling from are very like white savior colonial crap. Like that's a problem.
This new one like circumvents it a little bit by him just being blue the whole time. Him being an alien the whole time.
And him also not like being the savior of this world. Like you know what I mean? Like
he's just a warrior. In this
he's just like
he's not Turok Makto or whatever.
No,
he's just a guy.
So
they still kind of refer to him as that.
Yeah.
But
I wish we would have brought it up a tiny bit more in the first one, just to be like, hey, we know it's a problem. That being said, we're not exactly like scholars on the subject. So please.
Yeah.
So, but so just to say it out loud, like there's issues with the first one.
Yes, and there's issues more systemically in Hollywood storytelling and choices like that.
100%.
Progress is being made,
is 100% being made. Even in this movie, it's like to my like again, like I'm not exactly a scholar.
Well, I mean, in my opinion, this is a movie about people. Again, the first one was too. It's like him learning from them, but then they do the thing where he becomes the massive leader. Instead of following, he leads them. In this one, Jake is following. Jake goes and learns their ways and doesn't change that. He assimilates into their community out of love.
Yeah.
And because he's never a human and they're the same species, it works slightly better. Now, again, like you said, I don't know if that's actually true or if that's how we should look at this. I don't know. But it is slightly better in this one than in the last one.
I just wanted to say that and be like, I'm not cool with white savior narratives. So
you were telling me just off mic that
we were just talking about how I love that shit.
You used the word adore.
Yeah, the movie, the Scarlett Johansson
Ghost in the
Shell is literally my favorite movie.
I don't even know if that's a white savior movie or if it's just
definitely
outright,
not,
or if it's just outright racist. Like I don't know
it's just whitewashing.
Yeah, like
which is a separate and also way
bigger issue, way more prevalent,
which is way more prevalent and way more noticeable. So, anyways, Avatar 2. Good movie.
Avatar 2, good freaking movie.
I can't believe I actually freaking liked it. I freaking didn't care for the first one. Then I saw it in theaters and was like, oh, wait, this is actually kind of good. And then I saw this one and was like, all right, this one's actually just good. It's like actually just good. Like no...
More violent, cool, at least cool spaceship.
That's definitely
the crab
the
monster
part.
guy.
I'm glad we started with more violent because that is definitely the reason why I like it. So I'm just kidding.
No, fully, completely. Well, I don't know what you're joking about.
That dude gets his arm cut off and it was badass.
When it flopped.
I
was like, oh my God.
They really did that though.
So good, dude.
So good.
When this is like maybe my favorite kill, when she is out of arrows, so she grabs the arrow in a guy, lifts him up, and shoots the other one. It's hot. Watch the movie. You'll know the exact moment I'm talking about. It's amazing.
Good movie.
Avatar.
It's crazy to me that James Cameron is still able to create like new and inventive ways of, you know what I mean?
Of action storytelling.
Yeah,
it's
like
so
he's,
cool.
like, without doing shitty, crappy CGI camera moves.
Mm-hmm.
Like again, this movie is so...
It's like it could be shot. Like if Na'vi were real,
again,
he could have just shot them this way with a real camera.
Solid fundamentals.
Rock solid fundamentals. In some degree of fundamentals, fucking stratospherically good.
Yeah.
Like unbelievable, perfect.
Good ass movie.
Good ass movie.
Who'd have thought? Not me.
Most people other than you and me. But here we are.
Okay. So we're going to jump into the B segment unless there's anything else you'd like to say.
I like Avatar 2. You should see Avatar 2.
Hot take. Spencer likes Avatar.
You should see Avatar 2. I'll say it's one of the best movies of the year. Maybe not necessarily from like a top to bottom everything about it, but from an experience and from like I'm still going to be thinking about this one for a hot minute. Avatar 2, one of the best movies of the year.
Agreed.
Score is also very good.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah.
I like this one better than the first one.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to play a little game.
Yes.
We are going to, this will be our first speed run.
What?
We're actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to list off movies, and you're going to have to list the director of the movie, and we're going to see how many you get in 30 seconds.
I'm in trouble. Do I need to get my timer out? You have a timer.
I have a timer.
Okay.
Actually, if you could do the timer, that would be great. That would actually make my life easier. So give yourself 30 seconds.
I actually used 30 seconds. We
Got 30 seconds to save the world.
All right. Okay. You tell me when to hit start.
All right. Are you ready?
No, but yes.
Okay. If you don't know it, skip.
Okay. Yeah. I just hit 30 minutes instead of 30 seconds.
Yeah, literally. All right. Whenever you're, or actually, all right. 3, 2, 1, go. Mission Impossible 1.
Brian De Palma.
The Expendables.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mission Impossible 2.
John Woo.
Dunkirk.
Christopher Nolan.
Mission Impossible 3.
J.J. Abrams.
Gladiator.
Ridley Scott.
Mission Impossible Rogue Nation.
Christopher McQuarrie.
Too Fast, Too Furious.
I don't know.
First Blood.
I don't know.
Men in Black.
I don't know. Fuck.
Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Matt Reeves. I got that one. I got that one in
You
the
got
wire.
that.
I
You got that one under the
wire.
wire. Okay. You got 7 correct.
Hey. Who directed The Expendables?
The Expendables was Sylvester Stallone.
Okay, I was like, I wanted to say it, and I was like, well, no.
You should have just said
I
it.
should have just said
Too
it.
Fast, Too Furious was John Singleton.
Yes.
First Blood was Ted Kotcheff.
Yeah.
Never even heard of that dude. Did I say Men in Black? Did we
Yeah.
try-
What was?
Barry Sonnenfeld. You knew that one.
I knew that one.
Do you want to know the other ones I had
Yeah.
prepared?
No, tell him, and I'll see if I can get them. Just not speaking.
Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
I don't know that one.
Rupert Wyatt. Predator.
Oh, John McTiernan. Sorry.
John Wick.
Oh, Chad Stahelski.
Yep. Speed.
I don't know Speed.
Jan de Bont.
Ah,
Kill Bill.
Quentin Tarantino.
Of course. The fact that it took you that long, I'm
I
a
was
little
sitting my
disappointed.
phone down. My brain went
Oh,
two places.
gotcha. Sherlock Holmes.
Uh,
2010 one.
Guy Ritchie.
Yep. And Suicide Squad.
Which one?
Suicide Squad.
David Ayer.
Yep. So
You were trying to trip me up with that one.
I was ending on a nasty one. I knew we wouldn't get through all of those in 30
Yeah.
seconds, so I wanted to be extra prepared. So hell yeah, there you go. There is there's the game. That was a nice quick one.
Yeah.
Do a quick little speed round. All right. Recommendations. I should have thought of I do this every week. Should have thought of this ahead of time. I didn't. So Spencer, you go. Actually, I think I have one.
All right, just quickly recommend a couple of things that I've just been thinking about a bunch. I got our friend Ethan, friend of the podcast. He's been on the podcast. I love that guy. I got him into My Hero Academia because he's a big superhero nerd. I'm a big superhero nerd. That show is good, actually. I'm watching the new season right now. I'm super into it. It's got its issues. It's got some stuff that I think on revisits I won't love as much, but this week's episode had me cheering and jumping out of my chair. I loved it. My homeboy's back. You'll know what you mean when you get there. Hey, other than that, I rewatched Aliens, which is really interesting. I had only seen it once. Cool movie. It is not as good as Alien.
Yeah.
Which is
Hot
a
take.
conversation people have a lot.
Hot take. Alien's better, guys.
Alien's
It's just
better, yeah.
better.
It is. It's just better. I mean, it's Ridley Scott at some
His
of his
Ridley
best.
Scottiest.
Yeah, it's so good. So I rewatched that. And I rewatched both Creed and Creed 2. And holy God, are both of those movies so good.
Yeah.
Watch those movies.
Unpopular opinion, Creed is actually pretty darn good.
Unpopular a bit.
Yeah.
I'd be actually curious at what the cultural zeitgeist
I
around
don't
the
think
first Creed is.
I don't think there's a single person on this planet
Who would argue?
that would argue that Creed is not a good movie. I think there might be a more
Because we killed that person.
Yeah. I think there is probably a larger majority of people that may not like the second one. That being said, the second one's great.
Dude, hot take on this rewatch. Second one is a lot I already not better than the first one. Sorry.
Oh.
Pause. Not better than the first one.
Okay, jeez.
But it is so much better. Like I already really liked it, but when I rewatched this, I was like, damn, this movie's like really good.
I think I've only seen it once. I need to watch it again.
It's way more like drama laden, but like it really gives time to that.
Yeah.
It gives time to like a real arc and genuine. Like I'm into it, dude. It's got some stuff that isn't like the fights aren't as well shot, but they're
Right.
still well shot and
Yeah.
well executed. Just not like it's coming off Creed, which is maybe the best the fights have ever been. Kind of hard stop, you know? Like anyway.
I don't think anybody would disagree with that.
No, like maybe
That-
from a storytelling, whatever you connect to more, but like that scene when he's like,
know, man.
"What's your name?" Creed, and then he stands up, chills, tears every time.
I mean, the oneer, like
The oneer fight, and a true oneer too. It's not
Like-
stitched together. The one in the middle of the movie, they've talked about it a lot. They did it 11 times, and they used the like third take.
I thought that was stitched.
No, there are other oneer shot, like the one at the opening of the movie where it's going up and around. That has stitching in it, but at least so they say.
Okay.
So they say, but the zeitgeist around it and what Ryan Coogler has held to is that oneer is a true oneer, and which makes it all the more impressive.
Color me impressed.
Yeah, so good.
All right.
Creed, good movie. Anyway, watch that stuff. It's all great.
Unpopular opinion. Creed, not bad.
Yeah.
For me, I'm going to recommend two movies. One we've already talked about a little bit. Both of them are Netflix movies, and both of them had incredibly short and stupid theatrical runs that should have been way longer. First, Glass Onion. That movie absolutely shreds.
That should be out when this episode comes out, right, on Netflix?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I believe I
when does
think
it
it
come
comes
out?
out the 26th or something like that.
If then it should be out.
Yeah, we'll be good. Watch that movie.
Watch that movie. If it's not out when you hear this, it'll be out in a day or two. That movie absolutely shreds. It is Ryan Johnson at his Ryan Johnson-est.
He Johnson's all over the
Dude,
place.
his Johnson is out the entire time. It's really weird. No, super, super, super good. It's like a little bit different than Knives Out. It's got kind of a different feel, kind of a different flavor in a way that is super cool, and I really love it. Great, just a great movie. Just a great movie. Ryan Johnson,
Master of the midpoint.
fuck. Master of the midpoint. I've never heard it described.
Didn't I say? I think I said that on the earlier episode of the podcast.
You probably did.
Coined by a guy I went to film school with. He did a presentation that he's like Ryan Johnson, Master of the midpoint, and I was like, that is the truest sentence
That is
I've ever
such
heard.
a great,
Perfect way to describe that.
great
guy.
way to describe it.
Yeah, dude.
Movie absolutely rules. And then there is Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. Holy God, that movie is good. I really loved Glass Onion, but Pinocchio is in a different echelon for me. And it may not be the case for everybody. There is I am a staunch supporter of claymation. I think that claymation is still one of the like most gorgeous
Stop
and-
motion in general.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Stop motion in general. But like I think that it does not get enough credit. There aren't enough being made. Those movies are phenomenal. The work specifically that Leica Studios are doing are just absolutely. It's like Kubo and the Box Trolls
Kubo's
and
so good.
and I think Coraline. I think they also did Coraline if I'm not mistaken.
yes. Yes.
What's the missing link? They're making some amazing movies, like not only from like a technical like stop motion claymation perspective, just great movies. And Pinocchio, which isn't made by Leica, but Pinocchio is like maybe my favorite claymation movie since like Fantastic Mr. Fox. I loved Kubo. I love Coraline. I don't know. Did Coraline come out? It doesn't matter.
Kubo came out after Coraline.
No. I was Fast.
Oh, I don't
Fantastic
know
Mr.
that one.
Doesn't
No.
matter. Either way, I think that Pinocchio is absolutely phenomenal. Go watch it. It's on Netflix. You should have seen it when it was in theaters. The two of us made a special trip to Studio Movie Grill.
It's the only place that had it.
It was the only place that had it within 50 miles. And damn it, it was worth it.
Look, there's a scene in Pinocchio that I described as emotional terrorism.
Dude.
Like, it was past, like, I didn't cry because I was just broken. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
I cried.
He did. That shit had him crying up in the club, dude.
That shit had me crying in the club, homie. And I don't cry for shit. I can count on like two hands how many times I have cried from a movie in the past few years. And one of those times was an Inside Out when what's his name? Bungo.
Bing Bong.
Bing Bungo. Bungsy.
Bing Bong.
Django. When Django.
Jonathan.
When Bronathan was in the memory pit. Oh, that made me cry. And Pinocchio had me in tears. Man, that movie good.
Pinocchio good.
Guillermo del Toro is
My favorite.
Is the shit.
Fucking love that guy.
He is so underrated, and yet everyone knows how amazing he is. You know what I mean? Like,
if you ever want a good time, look up Guillermo del Toro Bleak House. It is just his house that he has filled with all of his shit, secret passageways, giant statues. It's incredible. I love it.
His house is like a set in one of his movies.
Yes, he has a writing room where it simulates like the feeling of rain all the time, because to him rain is exotic, is how he described it from his childhood. And so he likes feeling like he's whisked away. So he goes to his writing room where it feels like it's raining the whole time, and that's where he writes. I love him. I am Captain Slut of the Spooky Boys, and I will die for that man.
Yep.
I will. Not I would. I will.
What's a step underneath Captain?
I don't know.
Corporal.
We're gonna go with Corporal. I'm sure there's other ones.
Corporal, a slut.
Lance Corporal slut.
So you can be captain and I can be a step below.
Yeah, Lance Corporal.
We need to
slut.
look at the military hierarchy.
And actually do this.
Yeah, and actually do this.
Yeah.
Which part of the Italian army are we?
During the era of the movie, don't want to be part of the Italian army.
Pinocchio goes to places I never thought a movie could. Like that is like the epitome of like not a freaking kids movie, but like a family movie. But that being said, this movie goes some places that I did not expect a Pinocchio movie to go. And it's so funny that it came out in the exact same year as Disney's shitty, awful.
You see remake. That happen quite a bit, right? Like where there'll be like a bad one. It's weird.
It was Mowgli
and the
Jungle Book. Netflix too, both times.
Mm-hmm.
Did it after
There's
Disney.
Weird clone ones, dude. I don't understand why it happens, but it does. And the
Mowgli I don't think shaped up quite as well as Pinocchio did, because like
no, I don't mean they take over. I just mean like it just is weird that it happens.
No, I'm just
White House Down and Olympus Has Fallen is like an entirely different one, but both of those movies came out the same year. And you're like,
Ants, A Bug's Life.
It's weird that this happens, but it's a consistent thing.
Yeah. But anyway, go watch Pinocchio, the good one, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, because it is a absolutely phenomenal movie and an absolute heart wrecker. Go watch it, go experience it, show it to other people. It is worth a view and it is worth your time. So yeah, go watch it. Good movie.
Well, like you can watch it, or I don't know. Maybe like.